of the life after. You know the story in Sahih Muslim of the three men who sought refuge in a cave when it began to rain. As they entered the cave in Sahih Muslim, it closed upon them. One of the three men said, "Get up, each one of you, and make dua through your deeds so Allah can rescue us." So the first man got up and said, "Oh Allah, my children wept at my feet because I didn't deem it advisable to serve milk to them, because when I returned from work late, I found my parents were sleeping. Oh Allah, I remained at my parents' head as my children wept all night long until daylight broke out, and I fed them. Then I fed my kids. Oh Allah, if I did that for your pleasure and your sake only, grant us riddance from this trouble that we are in, oh Allah." And the rock slipped away a little bit, but not enough for any of them to leave. Know how he said, "If I did it for your sake and your sake only." Yes, it was the deed he did, but it's also the sincerity of that deed, the secretiveness of that deed. The next one gets up, he says, "Oh Allah, I had a cousin that I wanted to have relationship with her, and she refused, and one day she fell on a hardship. She said, I need to borrow 100 dinar. And I agreed to give her 100 dinar if she had a relationship with me. Oh, he said, oh Allah, when I approached her for intercourse, she said, servant of Allah, fear Allah, attaqillah, and don't break this seal of chastity except by its lawful means. Ya Allah, I got up. Oh Allah, if I did that for your sake and your sake only, grant us riddance from the trouble and problem that we are facing." Likewise, the third man gets up, open a little bit, not enough. The third one says, "Oh Allah, I had a worker. He didn't take his wages for that day. He left some of his rice, so I planted it, and I became rich with flocks of cows and sheep from that investment. He returned to me later and he said, fear Allah and give me my wages. So I told him that flock of sheep and cows are all yours. He said, fear Allah and don't mock me. And he said, oh Allah, I told him, I'm not mocking you. Ya Allah, if I did that for your sake and your sake only, then remove this hardship that we're facing. The rock moved away and they were finally able to leave from the cave. You want that to happen to you? It's not impossible. That's why the Prophet ﷺ taught us this. If you want that to happen to you, Ramadan is the best time to stock up on secretive, sincere deeds. Let nobody know about them. You yourself try to forget about them. The days go by. Life is pregnant with its trials and tribulation. After years, maybe a child will get sick, maybe cancer, pain, poverty. May Allah save you, guard all of you from all that. Then you raise your hand, you say, oh Allah, I had that deed and I did it in secrecy, in sincerity for your sake. Oh Allah, grant me riddance from this trouble that I'm facing. Or forget about it altogether. And let Allah remind you of it when it's placed in your scale on the balance on the judgment day. Wallah al-azim, Allah will remind you of it. فَلَا تُظْلَمُ نَفْسٌ شَيْئًا وَإِن كَانَ مِثْقَالَ حَبَّةٍ مِّنْ خَرْدَلٍ أَتَّيْنَا بِهَا وَكَفَى بِنَا حَاسِبِينَ. We shall set up the balances, the scales of justice on the judgment day. No one will be dealt with in oppression. No one will be dealt with unjustly. And if there's a tiny weight of mustard seed of a deed, we will